are going to go ahead and get started. My name is Todd Scholl. I work with the South Carolina Education Association. I am the lead learner at the Center for Educator Wellness and Learning, and you can check out that website at CEWL.us. Again, that is CEWL.us, US. CEWL.us. Check that out and get in touch with me. My contact information is on there. If your school is in need of some professional learning, or if you have an idea for an upcoming webinar or a roundtable or panel discussion, please reach out to me. I'd love to talk with you about your ideas. And one of the cool things is, we are at the SCEA, we really care about giving our members platforms to use their voice. So one of the things you may have seen today is we launched another video from Cassie Moore. Cassie is a media specialist and also the 2022 Oconee County Teacher of the Year. She's from Seneca Middle School. She did a really great video, and she's done a series of videos on literacy and social justice. And I will link that video in the chat later after I'm done with the Weebly session. Excuse me, I just drank kombucha. And I'm a little gassy. Anyway, but Cassie is doing a wonderful job. And she just became a member of the SCEA in November. And this is what we do at the SCEA. We want to give you platforms to use your voice, to share ideas, and to share great teaching tips and issues that are important to you. We want to give you a voice. So we're going to do that through the SCEA and through the Center for Educator Wellness and Learning. The mission of COOL is to improve the inner and outer lives of educators. One of the ways we're doing that is we're going to be hosting a retreat, an educator renewal retreat that's coming up June 28th through the 30th. You can find out about that on the COOL website at cool.us. There's, I think, 3 spaces maybe left for that retreat, maybe 3 or 4. It costs $99 for members of the SCEA. If you're not a member, it's $149. And that retreat is going to be held at Indigo Nature Retreat. It's a beautiful retreat center. There's only going to be 10 educators, myself. Kara Lee, who some of you know, is going to be doing some of the facilitation on the first day and a half. You get, for that price, you get basically, it's really being sponsored by the SCEA. The vast majority of the cost is being covered by the South Carolina Education Association. Your cost covers basically 2 nights stay in a micro cabin, a book, Mindfulness for Educators by Dr. Tish Jennings, 2 gentle yoga sessions, and all the equipment that you would need to do yoga and some mindfulness practices, as well as coffee, tea, snacks. The only thing you'll need to do is bring some food. There's 2 really well-equipped kitchens that will be available to the 10 to 12 people who will be there. Refrigerators, stoves, ovens, all that stuff, so that you can bring your food. And we did that just to keep the costs down. And also, it's kind of hard to thread the needle on everybody's dietary needs. Some people are vegan or gluten-free and that kind of thing. So it's difficult to find caterers who can fit all those needs. So there's that. But it's going to be a great time, a really good time for you to come and learn about mindfulness practices, kind of disconnect from this. I know it's been a really difficult year for so many people, but to disconnect from your day-to-day sort of the tyranny of your agenda and all the things you have to do, just to get away into the mountains of beautiful Pisgah National Forest and just spend a few days reconnecting with yourself and learning some practices to help you manage some of the stress that you're under, and to learn those things to help your colleagues too, because there's a lot of great stuff that you can learn and bring back to your school or your district to help folks who are managing the enormous stress that we've been under the past couple of years as educators. So I hope that you'll consider joining us if that sounds good to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions if it's not clear on the website what the retreat's about and what you would experience. So the last thing I want to say, last little bit of sort of promotional stuff. Right now, you can join the SCEA. So if you're not a member of the SCEA, you can join right now. and there are no dues until September. So you can enjoy all the amazing benefits. And I don't want to sound like a salesperson. None of us at the SCEA want to sound like we're trying to sell you something, because our association isn't about a transactional relationship with you. We're not just selling you an insurance policy. We want to have a relationship with you. We want to support you. We want you to take ownership and control over the association. But there are some amazing benefits. Myself, I applied for, got the Amazon. There's an Amazon NEA card. So when you join the SCEA, you're also joining the NEA and your local association. And that NEA, the NEA membership has all these really cool benefits. One of them is this Amazon NEA credit card. And I got a $200 rebate. Plus, I get 3% every time I spend money online. I get 3% back on those purchases. So it's already pretty much paid for most of my dues already, just that benefit alone. There's all kinds of travel benefits. There's insurance breaks. There's the micro-credential portal, so you can take free courses. And there's just like about 200 micro-credential classes that are created by educators that are really amazing. So you've got the micro-credential portal, and I mean, there's just like an endless number. I keep being surprised at the number of benefits. There's the free college benefit that you can give to any family member who's looking to get a degree. It's just an amazing number of benefits. But more importantly, we want you to join a movement, and that movement is to help create a better system, a healthier system for our educators and their students, because we know that if our educators are treated well, treated with respect, paid well, have good working conditions, that's going to translate into better learning conditions for students. So we want you to be a part of the movement. We want you to use your voice. We want to come together, build collective power, not individual power, but collective power together. Alone, we can't really make a lot of change. I mean, we can influence people, we can speak out alone, but it is when we come together as one in a union, which is what we are. When you come together in a union and you have collective power, you can start making demands of power. You can start asking power. Here's what we want, and here's what we actually demand, not just ask for. This is what we demand. But you can't demand something on your own. You've got to come together collectively. And that's what the SCEA is about. That's what the NEA is about. And again, not just joining that state association, but a national association, the largest labor union in the United States. And we're proud to be a part of a union, because that's where we can make change, when we come together and we're unified. So, all right, let's get to tonight's topic before I lose too many people in trying to promote things. And you'll have to excuse me. I am going to sip on a kombucha throughout the presentations. I'm very thirsty. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at Weebly. Now, let me share my screen here so you can see what is going on. And let's see if I can pull that up. There it is. Okay. Let's go over to Weebly. So the first thing you should do is go, if you can, go to Weebly.com, sign up for an account. Okay. Free account. There's no, and by the way, I am not a shill for Weebly. I don't care if you use Weebly, Wix, Squarespace, whatever you want. There's all kinds of free website builders out there. All of them have their advantages and disadvantages. The reason why I like to use Weebly, especially with educators and with students, is because the learning curve is really low. Like, it is super intuitive. It's really easy to jump in and get something built quickly that is not really, doesn't take a lot of finagling and learning. This is like, it's really pretty simple to use. So that's why I like to use it, especially when I'm working with groups and folks who are not, don't have a ton of technology background. But like I said, I love Wix as well. And so anything you want to use it. But tonight we're just going to be talking about Weebly because it's pretty easy. You can build a really pretty nice website in Weebly. It's free. Now, there are paid accounts. There are some things that you can pay for. with Weebly. And that's like anything. The model right now is we're going to give you a free thing like Zoom, and it's going to have certain features. And then you can upgrade and pay a little bit more and get the pro features or the advanced features or whatever. Weebly's like that. But for the most part, you can build a really good website, a free website, and really not have to pay anything. Where you have to start paying for things is when you want to have a store and you want to add some special sort of custom bits and pieces to it. If you want to customize your URL, like in other words, most of the time, like if you have a Weebly website, it'll be like whatever, let's say the SCEA.weebly.com. If you want to take out Weebly and do your own, like the SCEA.com or whatever, without the Weebly part in it, you have to pay to upgrade there. But anyway, I'm going to start from scratch. And when you jump into your account, and by the way, I'm going to record this, so don't feel like you've got to take notes. You can watch this live, and then I will post this to the Cool website, cool.us, and it will also be archived on the SCEA's Facebook page. So don't worry about it. Just follow along, kind of get to know what I'm doing, and then you can go back and rewatch it and pause it and have two tabs open. Have a tab open where you're rewatching this training video, and then another tab open where you're able to pause and then go over to that tab and jump into Weebly. But most of us are going to need just a website. But if you do want to do an online store, like it would be kind of cool. Like if you're in a high school and you don't have a way to sell like school merchandise, talk with your principal, talk with maybe people at the district office and ask them if you could set something up with an online store. But I'm just going to do a website tonight. Just keep it really simple. Once you do that, you got to select a theme. So a theme means it's like, what is your template that you want to use? What looks good to you? And there's really no right or wrong answer here. They're just going to set up something that looks like what you see here. Okay. And a lot of it depends on what is it that you're trying to do. So for a student who wants to do a portfolio of work, they may want to choose right here under portfolio, select a theme. If they're just going to do a portfolio of work, they want to show a lot of pictures of, say, their artwork or like travels or whatever. And then there's the personal one. So if it's like more like a personal kind of blog kind of thing, or a personal website, like a personal photography thing or whatever. There's event websites, there's blogs, and everybody knows what a blog is. And then some other options here for you to choose. So I kind of like this pathway one. And by the way, you can sort of see preview what they're going to look like. If you click on it, you decide you don't like it, you can always go back and change your theme. So don't freak out. Don't think like, oh my gosh, now I picked this theme and I don't like it and I'm locked in. No, you can go in and change the theme. It's fine. Now here's the thing. If you choose a theme and you do a bunch of work on it, say for a few days, you start creating pages and putting stuff on there, and then you decide to go back and change the theme, it could be a little bit cumbersome trying to get everything to kind of fit into that new theme. So make a decision here, and then you can sort of see a preview of what it looks like. And if you like that, then you just click start editing. If you don't, just click out of it, click the X and go back to another one. So it doesn't, you're not, like I said, you're not locked in. I'm actually going to choose this one, this Muse one. I like that one too. This is a good one. So I'm going to click start editing. And I upgraded my internet to make sure, to hopefully, everything will move quickly. So I'm locked in. I have to choose a name now. So if you have a domain, and you can purchase a domain, by the way, this is really not that hard. You can go to GoDaddy or name.com or whatever domain people you want, and you can buy a domain. Now, something like school.com is not going to be available. And even if it is, it's probably going to cost you like a lot of money to buy it, right? So you want something that's kind of unique, all right? Now, for the purposes of this right here, we're just going to choose something because we're not going to use a custom domain. We're just going to use that Weebly. So I'm going to type in my name, Todd Andrew Scholl, and see if that's available. So I'm going to click search. Let's see. And then down here, toddandrewscholl.weebly.com is what I'm going to click. Now, you can purchase Todd. I could purchase toddandrewscholl.com, and they've got some other suggestions, or toddandrewscholl.net, and that would be included with a 1-year plan, but I would have to pay for the plan. So for the purposes of this, we're going to do everything for free, because I don't want you to think you got to pay for anything, because you don't, and your students don't. So let's say I'm going to choose this, and the URL is going to be toddandrewscholl.weebly.com, and then I click done. I'm going to reload the editor here. There we go. All right. So I'm in. Let me do this. Yeah, that'll be good. So that I can move things around if I need to. Okay. So this is the interface of Weebly, and there's a couple things to pay attention to here. Up at the top, you've got build, pages, theme, apps, settings, help, and then you've got this button right here. What this button does, I'm going to go ahead and tell you this real quick. This shows you what your website's going to look like on a desktop version and then a mobile version. So this is going to show you what it will look like on the mobile, so on a cell phone. This is important because sometimes when you create things, even though it does format well, it's called mobile responsive. Most of these themes are mobile responsive. They kind of automatically reformat themselves well for your cell phone. It's still a good idea for you to sort of check and see how things are going to look on your mobile device to make sure things aren't out of whack, and then you can make adjustments. So that's what that is. So I'm going to leave it on desktop though, and I like to edit in desktop because it's just easier. Help is self-explanatory. If you need support from Weebly, you can go in there. There's a lot of articles and things. If you get stuck on something, you can get good support there. Settings is really important to start with. So I'm going to actually tell you the first thing you should look at is settings. So we're going to go to settings, and then over here you've got some things to look at. But under general, which is where you're going to go, this is your URL here. Anytime you want to change that, you can. You got over here and you got to change. And then we're going to give the site a title. So I'm going to call it Todd Andrew Scholl. You call it whatever you think your website should be called. Now, this is really important because when Google starts to sort of index the page, this is what it's going to come up as the name of your website. So if you don't change it and it says my site, that's what it's going to show up in Google. So you want to be clear with your site title, okay? And then you click save. And then you've got categories, so you can choose what category your site is. I'm not going to worry about that right now. SSL is your security certificate, and that is it's already enabled, so don't worry about that. A favicon, if you notice up here next to Facebook, you see the little blue icon up here. That's a favicon. That is a little icon that fits into the tab. They call that a favicon. Now, in order to have a favicon for your website, you have to upgrade. Do you need to do that? No. If you're going to have a super professional website, I would. I would do that. I would upgrade. But if it's just like a classroom project, something like that, you don't have to have a favicon. It's fine. Site password is kind of cool if you want to have a password so that you can password protect your site. So in other words, you want people to access it, but only if they have the password, you can do that. Navigation, this is going to group all the excess pages under something called more, and you'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. I'm going to skip over the archive and simple chat because that's just I don't want to get too much into the weeds because we only have an hour. And I just want to focus on the things that are most important. So under site formatting, main thing here is if you're on the East Coast, we want to switch this over to Eastern time. Okay. So do that. Don't worry about this cookie banner stuff and this all that stuff. Don't worry about any of that for right now. Okay. When you are done, whenever you make any edits, you always want to go up here to the upper right-hand corner and click publish. Okay. And then when this box comes up, just X out of it. You can upgrade at any point that you want to. They're basically just giving you an ad every time. They're going to keep sort of saying, hey, you want to upgrade? Hey, you want to upgrade? You don't have to upgrade, but if you want to, you can. Just X out of that, you're fine. Now, all the changes that you made now are live. So everything we're doing right now is what we would call like it's on the back end. So this is all on the back end. We're working on the back end. As soon as we publish it, then it's going to be on the front end. In other words, anybody who goes to toddandrewscholl.weebly.com is now going to see it after I publish it. But until I publish it, nobody can see the changes that I've made. Okay. Let's go back to settings. Under SEO, SEO stands for search engine optimization. This is important because when people are Google searching for whatever it is you're trying to do, let's say it's your high school or your name or whatever, you want to put in a description. So I would put like a website dedicated to Todd Andrew Scholl, whatever you're trying to do, put in a description. You have 250 characters to give a description. Doesn't have to be long, but a clear and concise way of describing what your website's about. And then under meta keywords, these are words that you would think that people would use to search for your website. So if it's an educational website, you might put in education, maybe the name of your high school, maybe your name, your school mascot, whatever, any kind of keywords that you think people might use. And you just put a comma in between each one. Do not worry about footer code right now. We don't need to get deep into search engine optimization or header code. That's something you can learn about later. You can do a search for how to improve search engine optimization. Watch a YouTube video. I don't want to get into that too much right now. So we click save, and then we click publish. Under editors, if you want to add an editor, you can add another admin. So if you want another teacher who can log into the same website and have their own unique login, you can do that. You can also have authors or people who can see the dashboard only. Now this would work, say you had a high school newspaper and you wanted to, you had a co-sponsor the paper, you could make that other teacher an admin, and then you can make students authors. Now here is a place where you would have to pay for the upgrade. And you can sort of see the different levels there. So if you have a student newspaper, cheaper than printing it, right? But you can create different authors and then give them access to just certain pages. So this would give you sort of another layer of security so that students don't have access to edit the entire website, but maybe just certain pages, maybe the blog page or something like that. Same members, what that does is it basically creates something where people can access it through their own email and password that they set up. And you could do this where if you want people to access certain pages, but only if they become members of your website, then you can do that. They can sign up. It'll create a sign up thing on the website, or you can, again, requires an upgrade, but you can also add members from like a CSV file, an Excel file, if you have like a list of people that you want to make as members of your website. And this could be parents or a list of students or whatever. Just thinking out loud. Is it necessary? No. Is it something I want to show you? Yeah. And then this is a list of your apps, and I'll explain what those are in a minute. And then this is sort of the blog settings. So if you create a blog, you can go in here and it will help you create the different blog settings. Okay, so that's settings. First thing to do is pick your theme, fill out all that stuff in the settings, publish. The next thing I want to show you is, oh, by the way, if you ever want to change your theme, you click theme, and then you can go back here and over here to change theme, and that's where you would change your theme. Again, if you change your theme after you've built a lot of stuff, that new theme may throw off the formatting of something. So it may take you time to do it. So you want to be really careful that you can preview what that theme would look like with your content if you want to before you choose it. I would highly recommend you preview it before permanently selecting that as your new theme. Also, there's ways you can tweak the theme. One of the things about Weebly is it's easy to use. It's not super hyper customizable. So, but there are ways to customize it through changing the font. So you can go through and edit the fonts, the site title fonts, the navigation menu, and sort of highlights what that text is. So say you wanted to change that from Montserrat to Arial, you can do that. You can change, play around with this and see what fonts you like. You can play around with the size of those particular fonts, the color, those kind of things. So this is where you kind of do some of the customization. Now, from a design perspective, this is really important. Consistency is key. Legibility is key. The most important thing when you're building a website is not how fancy it looks and you've got like 18 different fonts and 13 different colors. You want to keep it, simplicity is key. And a lot of times when people start building a website, they go overboard because they're like, okay, I'm going to make this thing pink and then this thing green and this thing I'm going to make blue and I'm going to have this font looks really pretty and then I'm going to do a different font and then you're going to, and it's like, and from a user interface standpoint, that's a big no-no. Go and look at any website. Go look at Apple's website. Go look at any major company's website. It's clean. It's simple. It's easy to read. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't use a bunch of different colors. Choose your colors. Keep the colors consistent throughout the website. Choose your fonts. Keep the fonts consistent. It's okay to use a couple of different fonts, but it's more important that they're easy to read than they look fancy or cute or unique. Okay. And then under theme options, you can do a fixed navigation. You can do full width stuff. There's different options based on the theme that you have. Okay. So that's under that theme tab. And then I'm going to go to pages. So again, I showed you this button right here, desktop or mobile. This is your help. This is where we did all the settings. I'm skipping apps purposefully right now. Theme, where you can kind of choose fonts and colors and things like that, or you can switch your theme out. And then pages. Now pages, this is where it would be helpful for you to spend some time thinking about what kind of content you're going to have on your website and maybe writing it down on paper or opening up a Google Doc and creating sort of like a framework. Like you're going to have a homepage. Where do you want people, when they put in your URL, when they first go there, what do you want on there? What do you want on the homepage? What do you want people to see, right? What's the most important thing that people can see on your website? And then as you think about all the different types of content that you're going to put on the website, that's either going to be a part of that homepage or it's going to be its own page by itself. So this template came with home, services, about, and contact. It came with 4 pages set up. Okay. You can utilize that any way you want to. I'm just going to keep it like that, but I'm going to show you how we would create a new page. So let's just say I was at high school. I was at Johnson High School. And I wanted to create a page for our athletics department. So what I would do is click the plus button here, and then I can choose from these types of pages: standard, blog, category, product, external, non-clickable. Let's talk about what those are. Standard page is going to be just a regular web page. A blog page is exactly that. It's going to be a blog. So if you want students to do some writing or you're going to do blogging, this would be a good page. Category tends to be more for stores. Like if you have a category, like we're selling shirts, we're selling drinkware, we're selling whatever. So and same with product pages. So I wouldn't really worry about category and products unless you have a store. An external page would be really something to have in your menu if, for example, you are, again, building a website for your high school's journalism department, and you want to have a link to the actual school district or the school website. So you could click that, and all it's going to do is create. I'm gonna go ahead and create one here. So all it's going to do, you see what it did. It put over here in the menu, link page. I'm going to call it Johnson High School, even though I don't even know what that exists. And then you would just copy and paste the link into there. And then I like to do click link in new tab. That way people don't have to go back. They can have the new tab open and your old tab open. Okay. And then you click done. And then see it's going to be in the menu there. So that's what that means when it says external page. A non-clickable menu item means that it's going to show up here on the menu, but it's not going to be something they can click. This would be good, for example, if you wanted to do athletics, and then you're going to create sub pages like softball, baseball, football, all that stuff, right? So we'll click one here and we'll call it sports. Okay. And so now we see that it's there, sports. And I'm going to make a new page. And this time it's going to be a standard page because I'd put content on it. And I'm going to call it baseball. Now, you notice when I did standard page that there's some other things down here under header type, visibility, SEO settings. Let's look at those because those are important. When you're setting up your standard pages, you got to decide whether you want to have a header, no header, or splash page. Generally, you're going to choose header or no header. Header is this thing right here that you're seeing where it says click to edit, and the dark rectangle around it, that's a header, right? So if I want to do no header, see how it just pulled the header out? I'm going to go back to headers back in, all right? Visibility, is this going to be public? Is it going to require a site password? Is it going to be only accessed by certain members or groups? Remember, we set that up in settings. You don't have to do that. It's an advanced thing. Don't worry about it. But here's where you do need to pay attention is your SEO settings. So what's the page title? I'm going to call it baseball. And I'm going to change the URL to baseball. So now that's going to be the permanent URL for that page is toddandrewscholl.weebly.com or /baseball.html. So in other words, I'm choosing what that page's URL is going to be, that extension after the toddscholl.weebly.com/baseball.html, whatever. I forgot exactly how it formats, but I'll show you in a minute. Then you give a description. This is where you would describe, this is for the varsity baseball team or whatever, the baseball program at Johnson High School. Keywords, Johnson High School, your mascot, baseball, maybe your school district's name, your coach's name, whatever. So those are keywords, right? And then we go back and you'll notice that what it did is it puts their sports and it says baseball, but wait, I wanted this to be a non-clickable item and baseball to be underneath. So how do I do that? How do I fix that? So over here where we see our pages, again, how do I access that? Up here at the top, pages. So I've got baseball. All I got to do is click on that and go a little bit to the right underneath that sports. Now it's nested. So now you see that baseball just disappeared. I've got sports, but when I hover the cursor over sports, I have baseball now. So people can click and go to that page. All right. Now let's say I wanted sports to be where services, I wanted sports to be the main thing after the home page. I just take sports and I click and drag it all the way up here under home. And now you can see sports is there with baseballs. And I can rearrange these pages anytime I want to. I can rearrange these pages. And let's say you don't really need a services page. Like that doesn't even make sense for yours. Then you just go in here, click on it, delete it, say, yep, I want to delete it. And then services is out. And this is how you're going to start to construct, right? So what you want to do is be thinking about how you want your website organized. So that is a critical piece to get right, because if you put a bunch of stuff, like if you try to put all the baseball stuff on your homepage and all the softball stuff on your homepage, and you start building it that way, or you have just a sports page and you do baseball and softball and all that stuff, eventually you're going to have to move that stuff because there's going to be too much content for one page. So you really want to be forward thinking in what is all the content that I'm going to need. Now you can always go back and change this around, add new pages, move things around, but it helps from the start. It's going to save you work in the long run if you spend some time on the front end thinking about how you want to organize your website. All right, so that's pages. Again, right over here, most of your pages are going to be standard pages. I'm going to go ahead and create a blog page. I'm going to call it news. And again, you would go into your page title. You would call it, give it a page title, give it the URL, give it a description. You put in your keywords, all that. Okay. Now you'll notice that here it's created. I've got that news page now, and it's created a blog page. And then what's cool is anytime you want to do a post, you just click new post and give it a title. And I'll show you how to do all the elements and so forth there. But I just wanted to sort of show you real quickly how to do a blog page before I get into the editing. Okay. All right, we're good. We've got 25 more minutes. I think we're on good pace here. I'm going to go back to this baseball page that I created. And now we're going to get into the building. So it's weird. Like I've kind of gone backwards. I started here and moved my way backwards. I've skipped over apps. I'm going to try to get to that later. Not as important as the building. So when you get to your page that you want to edit by going to pages, selecting the page you want to edit. Okay. Then you're going to click build. And this is where we're going to build out the site. Now this one has a header. So I'm going to click in there. Already has like a text element. Elements are like the building blocks of your website. So when I say element, it's like a building block. Think like Legos, different size, shaped Legos, pieces. Okay, so the text there's a text element. Now I put in baseball, and then you see there's all these other blocks over here. Now these blocks, there's title, there's text, image, there's all these different basic blocks. And the basic blocks are going to be the main things that you're building. That's like the sort of foundational pieces that you're going to use a lot. Structure is like the structure of the page. So you might have different sections on the page, dividers, spacers, things like that. Media is going to be where you can bring in YouTube videos, upload files like PowerPoints or PDFs or Word documents and that you want people to be able to download. You'll notice the little lightning icon. What that means is those particular blocks are only available to people who have a paid plan. No worries. You don't need them. You don't need HD video. You don't need audio. There's all kinds of ways you can upload a video to YouTube, and then you can just copy and paste. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You can put it in your website, no problem. So you don't need that HD video. Audio is the same way. You can record, you can use SoundCloud. There's a lot of other apps you can use if you want to do sound, where you store your sound. And like I said, SoundCloud, there's all kinds of places, anchor.fm if it's a podcast. And then you would just embed. There's embed codes, and I'll show you how to use those in a minute as well. Under e-commerce, that's if you have a store. I'm not going to get into stores tonight. So if you're wanting to learn about stores, email me. I can sort of walk you through that, but I don't want to get into that tonight. And then there's some more down here. I wouldn't worry about these right now. Those are kind of things you can explore on your own later. I don't want to get into the weeds on every single thing that's on Weebly. But I did want to show you this before we start building. if you want to add some more blocks, like you're like, wonder what else they have. You can click add app there, or you can go up to the top, and this is where apps is. And you can explore apps. Apps are going to essentially give you more building blocks to play with to build out your website. And there's all kinds of apps. There's free ones, there's paid ones, there's all kinds of cool stuff. I'm going to show you just one that I've found very, very useful, and that's Accordion. So when you go in, it's a free app. You don't pay anything extra for it. To add the app, you just click on Accordion, and you can do a little demo. It sort of shows you what it is, but I promise you're going to want this. Click add, and then connect. Done. Now it's going to come back, and you'll notice it's going to reload your editor, and you're going to notice that now I have this accordion thing. So I can click and drag that in, and I'll show that to you in just a minute. But I wanted to show you that you can add. You're not limited to just the blocks that come with the standard editor. You can go in and you can get some additional blocks. This is what's going to help you take your website and make it a little more customized, make it a little more professional, a little bit less like cookie cutter, like everybody else's Weebly website. It's going to help you kind of make it a little more dynamic, a little bit more robust, I guess would be the word. So let's talk about how to build. So I'm going to click, and I'm left clicking on this title, and I'm going to drag it down here. And you notice when I drag it, there's that blue line. That's showing where the title is going to go. So I've got that title, put the title there. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to call it, I'm just going to say baseball. So I type that in. Now I can take that text, and there's a WYSIWYG editor. That's what you see is what you get. There's bold, there's italics, there's underlining it. I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. I can change the color. Again, don't get tempted to change the color of everything. Keep it consistent. Choose your colors. Legible. This is not good. Why? Because it's hard to read. Think about that. It needs to be easy to read. So contrast is important. So I'm going to go back to this darker color here. Excuse me. I can hyperlink things. So I can do that, and I can put a hyperlink in here. I can link it to another website. I can link it to another page that I've created in my on my website. I can link it to a phone call. A phone number. I can link it to a file. So a Word document, a PowerPoint, a PDF, or I can link it to an email address. I'll link it to my email address. So I can go toddschul@gmail.com. Okay. Oops. And there it is. So, so when people click on it, it would take them to their default email program, and it would email. So I can remove the formatting. I can justify it left, center, right, whatever. And then these are the sort of undo, redo buttons right there. Okay. So you have a little editor there. That's a title. So text. So I want to add some text. I left click on these blocks, and I just drag them. Now you'll notice that there's a blue line that comes in. If I want it to the left of baseball, I'd do it there. If I want it above baseball, you'll see the blue line above. If I want it to the right, I pull it over to the right. If I want it right below baseball. Generally, that's what you're going to do below a title. Just drop it right in there, and then start typing blah, 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 blah. Start typing your text. If I want an image, I click and I drag that. Sorry. Let me close out of that. All right. I did the power press there. So image, pull, drag it where I want it. I'm going to put it below the text. And then I can click and I just upload an image from my computer. And I'm going to do this social justice thing that we just released today. I told you about it at the beginning about Cassie Moore's really cool new video. So upload that. I can, and so you're going to, if you have images on your computer that you want on the website, that's how you do it. You just click and drag the image in there. And then, and you'll notice when you hover over it, there's this little like blue square here. If you click and drag that, you can resize the image. Okay. So you can click and drag that, resize the image. You can left justify it, right justify it. You can give it a caption, so forth. You can link it too. So if you want that image to link, you can link it to a website, standard page, a blog post, phone number, whatever. You can link images as well, which is really cool. So I've got that image in there now. If I want to put multiple images, I could click gallery, pull that down, and then upload multiple images, and it'll create a gallery of images. Slideshow, self-explanatory. Keep clicking too hard. And that slideshow sort of shows you different styles of slideshows you can select. So let's say I do that. And then I would upload the different photos. So I'm going to do, I'm just going to upload this one real quick. And I can continue to add photos to that. It takes a minute to upload. And then you would click save. Okay, so you can, and then what that one would do is it will have little thumbnails at the bottom. And as I add additional photos, so I'm going to add one more photo so you can sort of see what I'm talking about. All right. Bear with me. It's coming. All right. Save. So now you can see people click on that and there will be multiple photos in a slideshow. Okay. And you can play around with the slideshow. You can have a fade, you can have a slide, blah, blah, blah. And you can have the speed of how the slideshow goes every 5 seconds, or you can change it to, up to 9 seconds, or make it go faster down to 3. You can mess around with the spacing and so forth. So there's slideshow. Map is self-explanatory. So if you need to put a map of a location, you can click that, drag that in someplace, and then all you got to do is click in there, put in the address, and it'll show that address. So I'm going to put like Conway High School here. Let's see if it's going to require me to put in the actual address. I'll put in the SCEA's headquarters, Zimmel Crest Drive, Columbia. Let's see if that does it. Yep. So there, so sort of shows you that. I can change the height of it. I can make it a bigger map if I want to. Just keep messing with that till the map's the size I want it. And now you got a map on your website. Contact form, self-explanatory. If you want people to contact you and fill out a contact form, you click and drag that in there. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go into all that. You can play around with it. Super simple. Bottom line is you click and drag everything. Buttons are very useful. I like them for files. So if you want to have people like download the parent permission form. Parent permission. Okay. So you would put that button in there. You can mess around with the style of the button. So if you want it to be black instead, if you want it to be gray, whatever, go back and do that. I'm just going to type in permission. All right. And then you would link. This is where you would upload the file. So if it's a file, you would upload your PDF or whatever. And now once you publish that, that button will download that particular file. It is important that if you do that, if you do put a PDF in there or PowerPoint or something that's going to download automatically to your computer, to people's computers, you want to put the word download. So download parental permission slip or whatever it is that you're putting in there, put download, because you don't want people to be surprised by the fact when they click that button that something's downloading to their computer. People get a little touchy about that. And then the embed code. I talked about embed code. Embed code is really, really powerful because there's a lot of things that you can create and do on the webs, on the internet, and it will give you an embed code. And it's really cool. So you just click and drag that. And basically embedded code is you're basically taking the HTML code and you're copying and pasting it into here. You're going to edit this custom HTML code. Now, there's all different ways you can do that. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm going to show you how to do it with a video. Let's see. Let's do this SNL. Let's do this. I don't know what this one is, but I am going to pause that. And under share, if you look at embed, okay, that was the first thing. Click that. Now you've got this code right here. Okay, that's the code. All that code is saying is, here's what I want you to display. It's saying basically, I want you to display this video. I want it to be 560 pixels wide. I want it to be 315 pixels tall. I want you to get the video from this particular URL and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to click copy, or you can click Control-C, whatever it is on your website. I'm going to go back to Weebly, and I'm going to go to where I put that embed code, and I'm going to click Edit Custom HTML, and now I'm going to click Control-V or Command-V, or just file paste, and I've got paste now. Now watch what happens. All you see is this right now. You're seeing the code. You're like, oh, wait, I want to see the video. Click away from it. Now I see the video. All right, now I've got the video, that YouTube video on my website. I can click on it. I can edit the HTML. I can go in here. I can mess around with the height and width if I want to. You want to generally keep the same ratios. So how you do that? Use a little algebra. 560 to 315 is 700 to X. You multiply 315 by 700 and divide by 560, you get your height number, right? So just use a little bit of cross multiplication algebra there. This is the one time that algebra came in handy for me, is when I have to resize photos or videos. That is the one time I use algebra. So thank you to my algebra teachers for that. So that is that's how you that's how you use embed code. But there's all kinds of things. So if you took my podcasting course and you have podcasts, there's embed codes there. You can embed your podcast there. That's why you don't need this HD video or this audio stuff, because you can embed everything from YouTube or your Anchor.fm or whatever, or SoundCloud. There is an easier way to do YouTube videos specifically. I wanted to show you the embed code, but to do YouTube, we're going to do that same process, but it's even easier. So we're going to click and drag that YouTube video, or that YouTube block. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that video, and I'm going to click share. And I'm just going to copy this time the URL of the video. So I've got that copied, and I'm going back to Weebly, and I'm clicking in that YouTube element that I put in there. And right here, I'm pasting the URL. Bam, it's right there. Awesome, right? I want to do another YouTube video. I want to do it side by side. I go click, drag it to the left, or if I want it to the right, I click and drag it, drop it, and let go of my left click button. And then I go back to YouTube, and let's say I want to do this other SNL video. Pause, go to share, copy that URL, go back to Weebly, click on that element inside here, paste, boom. Now I've got both of those videos. Okay, simple. And I can keep adding videos. I can move them around. And by the way, to move elements and do different things with elements, here's what you're going to do. Hover over it, and you'll see you've got this thing here. It's like a waffle thing to click, and you click and drag it. Come on. My internet is like, it's like the page is frozen. Hold on a second. Let me reset that page. Let me go back to Pages Baseball. Okay. Wait. Sorry. Oh, I guess it was on the home page. Okay. Click and drag that. Sorry about that. So that's what I can do. I can click and drag that around using that little thing up there. If I want to delete that video or any element, you just hover over the element. So let's say I want to delete this video that I put in there. Hover over it, click the X, and then delete. And it will delete that particular element. The only other thing you need to know about that is here in the upper left-hand corner of the elements. If you click that, you can move an element to a different page on your website, or you can copy that element to another page on your website. This is very helpful if you're setting up, for example, I have first block, second block, fourth block, and I've got things that I want to put on each one of those pages. And it's the same thing. It's the same element on each page. This is where you can quickly copy it instead of recreating it on each page. Okay, going back to build files. If I want to put a file on there, you can do that. You can click and drag this, put your file wherever you want it. I personally find it much better in terms of aesthetics of your website and in terms of what users are used to use buttons instead. It does the same thing. So I don't even see a need to do the file. I would just use a button and then click on the button and do link and then file. It looks better. It's easier. It makes more sense. So, but I did want to show you that. The other thing I did want to show you is this accordion. So just to show you how we can take that app that we downloaded for free, and this is how you start to customize the website. So we're going to take that accordion. We're going to drop it right here. And what the accordion does is when you have a lot of content for the website, say you've got a lot of text or a lot of content, we have to think about the user. The user does not want to have to scroll to find stuff. So let's say you have an FAQ page. Let's say there's a scholarship or there's something that you have on your website, and there's a lot of questions that people have, and there's a pretty long answer for each one. Well, if you did the question and then all the answer, question, all the answer, and people have to scroll to find that information, it's not a good user experience. So that's where the accordions help. The accordions, what it does is like an accordion, it compacts the information. So I can take this and I can call this first part of the thing question 1, and I call this question 2, call this question 3. And by the way, you can play around with the colors and so forth. And if you click on the element, I'm going to do different backgrounds of colors so you can see it better, a little bit better. And then we're going to do a different, let's see. And so the text color needs to contrast with that. So let's just choose black. That might look a little bit better. Oh, it's not showing up that great. Let's, I don't know. We're just going to choose blue. Well, that doesn't look good either. Let's try to make it white. Let's see if that works. That's not great either. So what we want to do is actually take this green and make it a darker green. So we're going to go there. That looks a little bit better. Actually, what I'm going to do is make it black. All right. Anyway, so you can play around with that. What you do here is when I click this plus button, I can drag the elements into there. So I can put the answer to the question in there. So I take the text, drag it, drop it in there. Whoops, I dropped it in the wrong spot. Drag it over here. And now you'll see I've got question 1, and you're going to play around with the colors to make it look where it's easier to read. And then I put the answer to the question here. And then the user experience is basically going to be, they're going to see this. They're going to see question 1. And that way they can go specifically to the question they want answered or the information that they want. They click and it will pop accordion open to just the response to that particular question or that particular sort of heading, if that makes sense. So that's an example of how you can customize your website and start to think about the user experience. Like if you've got one of your web pages has like you're scrolling and scrolling to find content, people don't have time for that. I see a lot of district and school websites where they put a crap load of information on there. People don't have time to search for the stuff that they're looking for. Keep it organized, compact, simple. Think about if you were a user looking for this information for the first time, is it easy to find, or am I having to like do a Where's Waldo search for this content? So that's why your navigation is so important. And it's also important to get the content that you lay out on the page really easy to find. And the last thing I want to say about sort of layout and sort of content is don't put too much on your website, please. In education, God, I love educators. I'm an educator. My parents are educators. We write way too much text. Keep it simple. You don't have to put everything. If you are insistent, if there's a legal reason why you have to have it on there, like put it in a PDF, put it in an accordion or something like that. But keep everything simple and really easy to navigate. Let's go to Apple's website just to show you an example of what I'm talking about. Is there tons of text on here? Is there mountains of stuff to read through? No, because they know the user experience, like it's got to be simple. It's got to be simple. Everything's simple and clean. You don't have to put a lot of stuff. And if you do notice, they did it at the bottom here in small text. This is probably the legal stuff that they had to put in about the trade-in program and stuff. But the vast majority of the web page is clean, simple. It's clear. What do I want to do? What do they want to do? Apple wants to sell me their devices. So there's not a ton of stuff for me to search through. It's, oh, here's the iPhone Pro. I want to buy it. Boom. I go to and I click buy. You have to be thinking, what is it that you want people to do on your website, and make it super obvious where it is and what it is they need to do to get to that action step. So keep everything clean, simple. Notice how they don't have fancy fonts. They don't have a million different colors. It's simple. It's simple. It's easy to get to. So if I'm interested in an iPad, I just click that. And notice when I click it, it's simple. It's clean. There's not a ton of text. If I want to learn more about that particular type of iPad, I click learn more. Again, still not a ton of text. It's simple, it's clean, it's visual. Okay. You're not going to be able to build something that looks this great right off the bat. That's fine. But what I want you to be thinking about is more is not necessarily better. Sometimes it's better to have less. Don't clutter your pages with text and a bunch of stuff. I see so many district websites where you go to the homepage and it is overwhelming with texts and photos and just too much information to take in. And that's a horrible user experience. And people just don't know where to find stuff because it's just, there's so much stuff to search through and sort through. And I don't want to call anybody out, but if you look at your district or your school's website and there's a crap load of stuff that's on the homepage, compare it to what Apple does. And Apple, they know what they're doing. So simplify it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right, back to Weebly. I think that's pretty much all the basics that you need to know. The main thing to remember that I made all of these edits, but I haven't once click publish, which means people going to my website did not see anything that I've done until I click publish. And then when I click publish, you'll see it do this thing. And then if I want to see the live version of the website, I can click this link. And this is what my website looks like. Okay. You can see everything that I've done. But until you click publish, people won't see that. So just because you made an edit doesn't mean that it's gone to the live version, like the public version of the website. If that makes sense. And again, here's this button where I can see what it looks like on a mobile version. So now you'll see how it automatically formats all that stuff that we created for a cell phone. And if this looks out of place, then you may need to tweak things a little bit, go in and make some edits and tweak things around a little bit so that it looks a little bit better for mobile users. And that's important because probably there's going to be a lot of people accessing your website from their cell phone. So if it looks really bad on your cell phone, that means a lot of people who are accessing your website are seeing a bad version of your website. So it's important to get that right. One last thing, again, I don't care whether you buy this or not. The last little thing is if you do decide to upgrade, and I've upgraded several websites because I think it's worth it in the long run because you do get some cool stuff. There's the personal, there's the professional, there's the performance and premium. You would just look through that and see if that what might work for you. I can't remember. It sort of shows you all the different things here that it comes with. But I want you to think about, like, so if you're doing a school newspaper or an athletics, like a thing for your athletics department, I mean, $12 a month for a year. So it's like $144 for the year for the professional plan. I mean, can you not find like one sponsor for that, like a local business or someone to sponsor that? Can you not do like the PTSO or something like that, sponsor things for you? I mean, it's really not a lot, $144 to get the extra stuff that comes along with the professional thing. You can connect your custom domain, so you can take out the Weebly part. You get site stats. You get you can password protect. You can put video backgrounds. You can do the HD video and audio. And even though you don't need it, you can add a shopping cart. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can add on here with the professional plan. So that may be worth it for you. Take a look at that and see if it's worth it for you. Last bit is, if you see this and you don't like it, you're like, I really want to build a website. I'm not really crazy about this web builder. Check out Wix, W-I-X. I built the cool website, and I'm going to show that to everybody now. So the cool website, cool.us, was built with a different web builder called Wix. And then that one has a little bit more of a learning curve to it. It's a little more customizable. Squarespace is another one that you can use. Some people use WordPress. I find WordPress really cumbersome and difficult, but a lot of people love it, and you can build a really great looking website with it. So kind of see what works for you. But this is the cool website. And the last little, I want to bookend with promos here. If you go to the cool website, cewl.us, you can learn more about what we're doing. All of the videos that I do, like this one, and all the roundtables we've done, all the podcasts we've done, all of the panel discussions we've done are all housed here, and you can find them under videos. I mean, there's tons of stuff that we've done this year. We've done like a lot of videos, a lot of trainings, a lot of panel discussions. You can find them all here. We have a blog here. Access to the micro-credential portal is here. The NEA's amazing micro-credential portal. The podcast that I do with Albert Jones is here. We just had released an episode with Megan Kuhn. And you can contact me with this contact form if you have questions or about anything on here. And then the retreat that I mentioned, if you click up here at the top, this is where you would go and you can apply to attend. Just click that button and it'll take you to a Google form. Apply to attend. I'll let you know if you make it. We have 3 or 4 slots left. And then there's some other other things here up at the top, but those are the two main things that I wanted you to look at. But I built this website using Wix, and super easy, relatively inexpensive. And so that's another option in Squarespace as well. So those are some other options for you. And the last bit, and I know I'm over the time here, but here's what I'm going to say. I would love to, if you're not currently a member of the SCEA, for you to join our movement. I'm personally inviting you to do that. You can go to jointhescea.org. Right now, you can join with no dues until September. You can check out all the amazing benefits of being a member of the SCEA, your local association, and the National Education Association. And it's really cool. People will say, hey, we don't have a union. We do. We have a union. You can be in a union. Being in a right to work state does not mean that you can't be in a union. It just means that you can't be forced to be in a union to work in the state. And so the NEA is the largest labor union in the United States. When you join the SCEA, you're joining not just us, but you're also joining the NEA. So the cool thing is you don't not only get these state resources, you get national resources. You get to make all these connections with amazing educators from across the country. You get all kinds of resources that the NEA builds for its members, over 3 million members, and then all of the member benefits that we get as being members of the NEA. And it's it turns out to be about $40 a month, which, if you look at the benefits, if you add up the benefits of being a member, it's going to pay for itself. You're going to see that the benefits that you get come back. But here's the thing. It's not about a transactional relationship with you. It's not about what do you get out of it. It's about what can you give and what can we do together? What can we do collectively as a team, as a union, unified together? What could we accomplish if we could get all the teachers in South Carolina together on the same page and say, State House, legislators, here's what we want. We want, pay us what we deserve. Treat us the way we deserve. Give us the working conditions that we deserve. Give us that planning time. Protect our planning time. And we've won some battles together. We won a recent battle with unencumbered planning time each day. We just won that battle for you guys. The House passed it, so we are winning battles. But imagine if we had 40, 50,000 strong, all the educators and support staff as well. We bring in all the bus drivers, all the custodial staff, all of your cafeteria staff, all the folks that you're in your building who are working so hard every day on behalf of students. If we all came together and had one voice and spoke up for ourselves and our profession and for our students, ultimately, imagine what we could accomplish. So if you want to be a part of that, use your voice, become a leader in our movement. Go to jointhescea.org, jointhescea.org, and join right now with no dues until September. It's our early enrollment period. We'd love to have you. And if you are a member, or if you do join, I would love to talk with you about maybe some webinars that you can do for us, or maybe some panel discussions that we can have together to amplify your voice and give you a platform to speak your mind to teachers across and educators across the state. Anyway, it's been wonderful working with you. If you have any questions about Weebly, you can put those in the comments. I will continue to monitor that. You can email me, toddscholl@gmail.com. It's TODDSCHOLL@gmail.com. And I will be more than happy to walk you through if you have any obstacles, or you start off with Weebly and there's questions or anything, problems that you have that you can't quite get past, and you can't find the support for on the website. Contact me. I'll help you out. But I love you all. I know this is a really tough time of the year with testing and a lot of things wrapping up the end of the year, but we're almost there. And we're almost at the end of a really tough year. My heart goes out to you. Love each and every one of you. I care about each and every one of you. And I hope that you'll take advantage of the resources we have at the Center for Educator Wellness and Learning, because we do really want to take care of you and help you, connect you with resources about wellness and resources to equip you with the skills and the information that you need to be successful, not only in the classroom, but as an educator in terms of your own advocating for your profession. So have a wonderful night. Thanks for being a part of this, and thanks for being a part of our movement. Join the SCEA.org. Good night.